Welcome back, everybody. According to a recent article in Variety, the MCU is in quite a disarray. Gone are the days of Disney being able to print money off the fruits of the MCU labors. According to the article, in September, Marvel had their studio retreat. Normally, I suspect that these parties would be kind of like a frat party where everybody's patting each other on the back, telling each other, good job, giving finger guns. But this year was decidedly different. After a couple years of disappointing box office and less than stellar reviews on the Disney Plus shows, Marvel is quickly collapsing under its own weight. But let us look at some of the matters that this article arose and how Kevin Feige and the rest of his crew plan on addressing it. And trust me, some of their plans seem pretty intense.
One of the problems the MCU is facing is the issue with their multiversal villain that is the follow-up to Thanos and his mighty snap. I am, of course, talking about Kang the Conqueror, also Ramatut, Immortus, and who can forget Victor Timely. Jonathan Majors, who is the actor tasked with all these roles, is currently embroiled in a legal case for alleged assault after police were called for a report of a domestic dispute back in March of 2023. Majors, for his part, pled not guilty to the charges and maintained his innocence through the process. But Disney, who has a habit of quietly and not so quietly distancing themselves from problematic actors, already has a plan B and C for that matter if they decide to go in that direction. If all goes as planned, Marvel will just keep Majors in the role of Kang and his variants and move forward like nothing ever happened. But recasting could also be an option if needed. Personally, I think Yahya Abdul-Mateen II could step into that role with relative ease and fill the void left by Jonathan Majors. His work on the HBO show The Watchmen as Carl Abraham, and spoilers, he's Dr. Manhattan, is pretty brilliant. The more drastic and possibly interesting scenario would be just to abandon Kang as the big bad and replace him with a different villain, Doctor Doom. At this point, I have no idea if that role has been cast, but if they go this direction, they need to get somebody in there ASAP. Someone who is available and has the star power to make it work. Personally, I think someone like Henry Cavill would be great in that role. Granted, he'd be covering up his moneymaker, his face, with a big metal mask, but even still, I think the former Superman could pull it off.
The next issue that the MCU is facing is the thought of yet another movie that will underperform.
The Marvels, which cost around $250 million to make, will open on November 10th and is currently projected to make around $75 to $80 million for its opening weekend. The 2019 Captain Marvel earned $153 million on its opening 3-day weekend. So why the big drop-off for the sequel? Well, one possible reason is because of reshoots, which suggests there might have been script changes, and it usually isn't a good sign. But having said that, it is not unusual for Feige to order reshoots on a regular basis. Many past MCU movies have had reshoots worked into their schedule. It was also reported that the director of the Marvels, Nia DaCosta, began working on her next project, Hedda, starring Tessa Thompson, during the post-production. This is kind of an unusual step for a director of a tentpole movie with a $250 million budget. There have also been reports that the star of Captain Marvel and the Marvels, Brie Larson, is a little dissatisfied with the fact that this movie will center around 3 main characters, with her, Carol Danvers, Iman Vellani's Kamala Khan, or Ms. Marvel, and Teyonah Parris Monica Rambeau, also known as Pulsar. Instead of this being a direct sequel to Captain Marvel, it is both a continuation of Captain Marvel that includes 2 additional characters. Another eyebrow-raising detail that came out of the Variety article is that Marvel Studios have actually screen tested this film. This is pretty common practice for most films. But normally Marvel doesn't screen test theirs, unless it's an internal screen test. Kind of different.
Let us look at one part of movie making that, if done right, just fades into the background, but if done poorly, sticks out like a sore thumb. I am, of course, talking about VFX.
Have you noticed a lot of movies just don't look great? I mean, I'm talking creepy babies in a microwave going at the speed of light kind of bad. Films like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which had a budget of $200 million, had some effect shots that just didn't look good at all. A reason for this was due to the Marvels release date being pushed back and Quantumania being pushed ahead instead. This caused the VFX crew to work nearly day and night to finish the movie, and well, some stuff slipped through the cracks. Reportedly, the VFX workers who were working these 14-hour days with no overtime had recently voted to unionize. This will definitely have repercussions in the movie industry going forward. Another glaringly bad VFX was centered around the Disney Plus show She-Hulk: Attorney at Law. According to the article, the main character, Jennifer Walters, didn't originally Hulk out until the 8th episode, but a change was made to have her transform in the very first episode. If that's the case, that sped up the timetable for the VFX crew, and well, we got what we got. Though a twerking She-Hulk with Megan Thee Stallion, VFX really can't be blamed for that. That was all the writers.
Marvel was on the verge of losing Mahershala Ali, its main star in the movie Blade, and you won't believe why.
Let's talk about the MCU version of Blade that was supposed to have a 2023 release date. To date, it has gone through at least 5 different writers and a couple directors and had been shut down for a month and a half before production. According to the Variety article, at one point, the film was going to be led by women and it was going to teach the audience life lessons, with Blade being relegated to the 4th lead. It had gotten so bad that Mahershala Ali was actually going to split from the project due to script issues. Now, this is the part that truly baffles me. You have a 2-time Oscar winner as your main character, and if that wasn't enough, the name of the damn movie is Blade. So why the fuck would you have him as the 4th lead? Also, it's not like it hasn't been done before. You got a blueprint to make a Blade movie. There have been 3, and 2 of them were successful. It's really a simple concept. Blade is a half vampire, half human vampire hunter. Boom. That's it. That's all you need. You just need a story that's good enough to hold the attention of the audience, and then a lot of cool looking fighty stuff. And then, just Blade saying something cool at the end. That's it. That's all you need. I would be happy with that. Luckily, cooler heads prevailed with Kevin Feige, who pretty much scrapped whatever they have done and is going back to the drawing board. And he hired the Oscar-nominated writer of the movie Logan, Michael Green, to pen a new script. They've also reduced the budget to under $100 million, which I'm not exactly sure what it was before, probably in the $200 million range, but this is actually a good sign. A sub $100 million movie means they can be a little bit riskier. They could probably even make it an R-rated movie, which makes a lot of sense and would be totally awesome.
Apparently, Marvel Studios has a nuclear option, so to speak, and they're actually entertaining the possibility of deploying it.
Apparently, there are talks about getting the band back together again. Now, I'm talking about the original Avengers lineup with Thor, Hawkeye, Hulk, along with Black Widow, Captain America, and the legendary Iron Man. This would mean the original cast would be reunited for a film, or heck, even a series of films if they wanted. Of course, getting both actors, and I'm talking about RDJ and ScarJo, on board may require backing up a dump truck full of money to their house. But at this point, Kevin Feige and maybe even the Disney CEO Bob Iger might feel it's worth it. To be honest, This actually really doesn't come as a surprise because I kind of figured that both of them would return in some way, shape, or form in Secret Wars, but we'll just have to see what happens. I do think a different idea that they could do is just go ahead and deploy the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. I mean, heck, you're kind of halfway there anyway. Both teams are A-listers, so much so that those were the characters that other studios bought up, along with Spider-Man, when Marvel Comics sold their film rights. I'm talking like back in the 90s and early 2000s, in the way, way back.
Does this spell the end of the MCU as we know it? Probably not. The cool thing is, they have shown a willingness to course correct when needed. This has been done with the aforementioned Blade, and also I forgot to mention the new Daredevil show, which originally was going to be like a court procedural, and Matt Murdock wouldn't have even suited up as Daredevil until like the 4th episode, which is crazy. Trust me, that actually could be its own video. Like I said before, they're course correcting. With any luck, maybe they'll slow down a little bit. I don't need 4 poorly done Marvel movies a year. I would absolutely love to see 1 or 2 really good Marvel movies per year, even if it's just 1. But of course, those are just my opinions, and I would love to hear yours. Feel free to express yourself in the comments section. And as always, fare thee well, my friends, and take care. Cue the music.